Well, thank you, Mantist.
Yeah, like prime mantis.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming and having this chat with me today.
No problem.
The whole thing about this conversation is trying to understand your inner workings of your ambition and how that has shaped your life, and kind of what experiences have you had along the way to get to where you are today, and maybe looking a little bit into the future of how your ambition is going to help shape your future. So I'd really love to hear a little bit about yourself and your background. Like where did it all start for you in terms of ambition? Something that you grew up with, something that's developed later on in life?
That's a great question, man. Just kind of a quick snap on my background. I was born in South Sudan, quite a war-torn country. So when I was 2, my father went to war, but then he was kind of casualty of that, so he didn't make it back. I lost my father, then I ended up being raised by a single mom. By the time I was 5, we ended up in refugee camp for the next 10 years. Those initial experiences shaped the way I approach life. I had to, I guess, grow up quicker than I should. I became hyper independent. It's a sequence of things.
It's necessity.
Yeah. So it started off as a necessity.
Yeah.
Then it became a responsibility.
Yeah.
And it just kind of grew from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty different to many people, especially in Australia's growing up. I feel like most people who are born in Australia would not have any idea about what that would be like to be in a war zone in your first few years of life, and how that might completely shape then the way that everything else develops after that. So that's a really powerful story. I'd imagine there's, for every person who maybe comes out like yourself with a positivity and the responsibility, there's probably also a number that didn't and did the opposite. So what would you contribute that moving into this self-empowerment?
Yeah, and you're 100% accurate. I think when you go through experiences like that, it can either turn you bitter or it can turn you better. I always say it depends on the influence that you're exposed to. I consider myself, I've always been a big dreamer. Even when I'm going through all the things I was going through, somehow, be it God, I'm very spiritual. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've always been, I could sense that I was created for much more, even when I didn't have the belief. And also thanks to my mom, I was grounded in faith. So I had this belief that everything worked together for my good, even the worst one. Looking at the benefit of, what can I actually use from this situation to elevate me into the life that I might want, into the place I want to go. Looking back now, when I look at my level of resilience and things, I'm grateful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it kind of brings on the attitude of not settling, not feeling like this is okay and just accepting the reality for what it is, but accepting the reality for what it is so that you can improve it. I guess what was the internal motivation was that you had faith that your life was worth more, that there was more to offer, more to get from life?
That, but also I'm very impact driven, and I truly believe that I'm happiest when I'm growing or contributing. Okay. And I've seen that a lot with the way my mom approached life. Mm-hmm. Even when she was going through some of the darkest time, not knowing where the next food gonna come from, she have this unbelievable faith that don't worry about it. And I can see, how she kind of just take an eye off herself and always looking at some other kids that, could be orphan, could be not a good home, and all the things. I could see how she just show out for them, even when she was going through what she was going through as a single mom with 4 boys. Mm-hmm. I think that was a really good example for me.
Good role model.
Really amazing.
So you think that a big driving force in the way that you approach life is determined by the impact that those actions or that opportunity provides?
When I came to Australia, the first 5 years was very challenging. I couldn't speak much English. In fact, I couldn't, if I was to be speaking with you in those early days, I would have to spell what I meant because I couldn't understand a thing, you might be saying, or you wouldn't have understood me because the language wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Initially, my drive was to kind of rebuild myself. I had just a broken self-image based on the experiences growing up. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to look in the mirror and see a winner because I wasn't happy with what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So that was the initial drive. I just I need to build this guy so that when he look at himself, he can just look at a winner.
So that's self love.
Self-belief, self-love, self-affirmation, whatever you call it. But, mm-hmm. The external possession of material, it wasn't so much a drive for me. Mm-hmm. My drive was just, you gotta earn your self-respect. Mm-hmm. And I was willing to go a decade to build myself for that.
Yeah. And that's a powerful thing because I've heard the quotes saying that those that can delay gratification generally end up with the biggest pot of gold, so to speak. So the biggest win comes from people who are willing to delay that gratification. Right? And we can think of this in terms of health, right? People who eat healthy food and spend the time cooking or whatever, it's delayed. Mm. And then they got to eat that food. But the end result of that is more healthy, more energy, more ability in your physical means.
Yeah.
So in those times when you didn't feel like growth was so apparent, maybe the growth is just these little minuscule little steps, how did you hang in there?
That's a really good question, man. I think, some people, when they embark on a pursuit for something, they say, let me try. The advantage that I had was I didn't put a time limit to it. Mm-hmm. I told myself, whatever it takes, as long as it takes, I'm going to build myself until I can see a winner.
Okay, so you didn't have the language of failure. There wasn't really an option for that in your mind.
Well, like when your back is on the wall, which I felt pretty much my entire time growing up, I didn't feel like I had much to lose. Mm-hmm. I didn't have much to quit to or to back off to.
Yeah.
The only way was to just keep moving forward, and that was really the pull for me. And being raised by a single mom, not having support, and not having rich uncle, rich whoever I could say, okay, maybe I can fall back and when they pass on, they will live with it. I didn't have that option. Mm-hmm. So my mindset basically was, if it's meant to be, it's all on you.
Okay, that full 100% responsibility was ingrained with you way back when you were a young child.
Because I could see that I didn't have any backup. When my mom brought us here, I knew this is as far as she can take us. Mm-hmm. Anything forward is all on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you come to Australia. How old are you when you first touched down in Australia?
I was 15, so I came here. I started grade 10.
Okay. So come here, no friends, your 3 siblings, your mother. It was just yous that you knew? It was just the 5 years together?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so you do school. Do you consider the schooling successful? Do you come out feeling like school's, giving you the tools you need to succeed?
The first few years in Australia, it was like fish out of water. Everything was foreign for me.
Okay, so you're not feeling comfortable in almost anything.
Everything was foreign, think about it. Here I was born, age 2 I lost my father, age 5 I moved to a refugee camp, stay in refugee camp for 10 years. So my childhood, if I have to put it in few words, it was life of quiet desperation. That was the reality.
I don't really think many people would actually know what being in a refugee camp actually physically feels like on a day-to-day basis. What is involved in that challenge?
So, right now I have 2 kids. My son is 7 and my daughter is 4. These kids, they wake up in the morning, they never ever have to think or worry about, will I eat today? Will I be safe today? They never have to worry about that. It is a given. But that was my reality growing up. Was I had to worry about those things constantly. So I didn't know, would I eat today? Would I be safe today? I always tell people, I was like, my God, I always feel like I was hungry. Even when I'm eating, I'm already start to think about, oh my God, would another one come tomorrow?
Yeah.
So it's not a fun place to be.
No. So very much on the edge of survival. That survival is very apparent in your mind.
Straight up.
Okay. So then you come to Australia, you do schooling. Then what? What happens next?
Schooling in general wasn't really my thing, if I have to be honest. When I was 16 or 17, I was exposed to music. So that became my obsession. If I have to put it in simple words, music became my biggest therapy. Because I started to use music as a way of expressing what inside.
Yeah.
Because there's not any other way that I could have expressed it. I didn't believe in counseling. In fact, I didn't even know a thing like counseling and all that.
Yeah.
So music became the thing. So I threw everything on it. And for 7 years, I was obsessed with it. I wanted to make it in it. And I was like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
So schools, everything else was kind of just at the back burner.
Yeah.
I was like in high school, I was going through the motion, like everybody pursuing to get A plus or A whatever. I was happy with C. If I get C plus, perfect.
Okay. So music becomes an obsession, and that in and of itself is such a high level skill that you have to practice and that you have to be diligent in. So what ended up happening with the music?
I was pursuing this music. When I started music, I was still living at home with my moms and brother. I would wake up really early in the morning because I have this urge to just write before I go to school. And I would wake people up because I turned the music up. And my mom would complain, my brother would complain. And I was like, I need to be free. I need a space for myself.
Yeah.
So at 18, I moved out.
Okay.
So now I got my space, let me now create. And of course, now I move out, I'm independent, so I have to now start to think about what I wasn't thinking about. Like, I have to pay my rent, I have to buy food, I have to do all the grown-up things that when you move out, you have to do. Now money became something that I have to think about.
Okay.
We go and find a job, but I was working the job, but my heart was not in it. I was just purely for money. So I found myself kind of just going through the motion, always feeling so drained. I felt like I was giving the best of myself into something that I don't believe in. And when I come back from there, I was already exhausted. My music, that should be at the front, now became at the back. And my soul was just not happy. Through that process, I was like, how great would it be if I could just be financially independent so I can focus on my music, like get rid of this need for jobs. Those thoughts were just kind of in the back of my mind. I didn't know who is financially independent. I didn't know how to create it. My goal was just to grind this music out as far as I could so I can make money out of it. So that was the plan.
Okay.
But I found myself, I'm like 5 years gone. And I'm started to feel stuck in this thing that is draining my soul. I started to ask myself some deep questions then. Is this it? I come back from work, I'm so exhausted that, I started to lose pleasure creating music. I had a friend from New Zealand that I met in Taekwondo. So when I was a teenager, I was exposing myself to all sort of things. So this guy, I think he was 19 and I was 16, and we just hit it off. We were just a great friend. We practiced taekwondo together. We both liked the same music I like. We became really good friends. But he's very sharp-minded. He started to expose me to things that my friend probably not being exposed to. Most of my friends was basically people that we came with. You know, we had the same story, the same limiting self-belief, the same all this. Mm-hmm. He gave me a recording by a guy called Zig Ziglar called See You at the Top. He's like, listen to this, man. And this guy at 19, he dropped out of school, he went to real estate, and he started making some serious money. He's the guy that taught me how to drive at 16. That one audio changed everything. Mm-hmm. Because of one line in that audio that said, you can change who you are, you can change where you are by changing what goes into your mind.
Ah, okay.
And then he started to talk about, you need to watch who you're hanging around. You need to. Then I started to do like, okay, let me do some audit on my friends.
Aha. Yeah, a peer audit.
Yeah,
perfect.
Peer. And that's how it all began, man. It's just one step, one sequence of something that it just keep pulling me forward. And when I did an audit on my friends, I realized, oh my gosh, we ain't going nowhere. I need to find a different association.
Yeah.
And that's when the next thing from there was, I was like, if this book is this good, maybe there's other book out there. And I found myself being drawn to books. So I picked another book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. Now that changed my thought about earning money. Remember, initially, I was like, I wish I could be financially independent. So that book taught me like, okay, this is how the wealthy think, this is how they make money, this is how the poor think, this is how the working class make money. And now I could see why I was feeling stuck.
Okay, so you go into corporate, you develop a strong sense of self, you develop the evidence of your success in terms of your discipline. What next? What do you do with that?
When you're so invested in something, almost 10 years I was there. So it would take unbelievable courage for you to want to throw that out and pivot.
For 10 years?
Pretty much.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know, okay.
That's showing discipline right there.
Yeah. The first 5 years was, I was proud of myself. So look at you. You came from nowhere, from refugee, basically from the, you came from the bottom of all citizen and you rise to this corporate ladder. Mm-hmm. That status, that ego was like, you're doing great, man, you arrived. Mm-hmm. So in most cases, I could have just settled and said, yeah, man, I've done great. Mm-hmm. And I could have just, but I'm the type that listens to the soul. And my soul just said, that's not who you are. You're in the wrong place. Mm. You're not making the impact that you could make. Okay. Remember, I'm driven by impact.
Yeah.
So that pull or that voice was louder, stronger than this ego, this status, pursuit of status. This was the one that was like, it just like scream,
Yeah.
So
couldn't hide from it.
You couldn't hide from it. Like I've tried, over time, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay. So you were saying something like, I've made it. I'm successful in this. Why can't you? This should be.
Why can't you just chill?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're in a place like Australia, great place, so much opportunity. Mm-hmm. We are blessed, like literally,
Yeah. Quality first world problems we have.
Yeah, like in so many ways. So in my mind, I go like, okay. When you're blessed, you have responsibility to bless others. Bless your mom, to bless this or that. And another thing that pushes me was I felt like somebody was in control of how fast I can grow. And I also felt like I wasn't getting paid what I was worth. I started to think that, okay, this is really, really putting a big caps on my growth. I wanted to move too fast, and this is like a wall. So I decided to, okay, let me just do this, but let me start a business on the side. I took my skill of producing music and I created a company and I started producing other people. That's how it started going.
Okay, so with the music producing, you started to get partners in, you hired people.
That's the thing. So when I was producing, as a producer, I was doing it by myself.
Yeah.
But I knew that's very limited. Then I started to think outside the box. I was like, okay, what does it take for an artist to create a music? They will need a website. How about I bring somebody that know how to build a website and add it in the team? They need album cover. How about somebody that can be a graphic designer so they can design all that? They will need video editor. How about that? So I started to set up that team.
Foundation.
Yeah.
So this is the foundation.
That's the foundation. So eventually I was like, okay, I want to make this as a one-stand hubs whereby artists can just come and I can record them. They need a website. I can just get this guy to design a website. I can get this guy to design the logo or album cover. I can get this guy to edit the video, and I can be the guy that coordinate everything. I started to use some of those team building skill, relationship skill that I was reading from a book. And then the interest of leadership became like, okay, if you're gonna help these people, if these people are gonna work together, you need to become effective leader. So interest of leadership became in my like, okay, I need to learn about this leadership thing. So I started to go that path.
Okay. So you start to develop a team of freelancers, are they? Like, are they just project-based, so need be?
Initially, I started that way.
You were doing that on the side? Still?
All on the side. We talk about work ethics. From there forward, I had a son. So now I started my own family. Like most people say, oh, I need my 2 weeks holiday. I haven't taken holiday for a while. And I knew that if I'm gonna get out of a job, I needed to really focus. Now I have to think about being present to my kids, because not having a father, I wanted to be the father I wish I had but didn't have.
Yeah.
So I was very present from day one to my kids. And I also wanted to be a good husband. So I started to read relationship book to do that. I started to max out my day. So if you're not adding to me, I started to think about boundaries. I'm like, okay, some people just drain you without adding. And that's how I started to put boundaries. I'm like, okay, if you're not adding, you're not adding. So I would have to put some boundaries. So I started to create different associations, people that not only I'm contributing, but they're also leveling me up. So all those started to become in play.
Okay.
My superpower is just showing up no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big journey to get where you are, and so man, it's an exciting future for sure. You've got the foundations to, do whatever it is that you set your mind to, and you know it. Yeah. So that's really powerful, and you've given us so much value in your story through this conversation. So I really value your time, Mantistic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love human story, and I think if we can just sit like what we're sitting here and just have a conversation, we'll find out that we all are the same. We all have a story to tell. We all have trial and tribulation, things that we need to overcome. We all have family that we love. We are all the same in essence. So I love that we're having this conversation, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to come sit down and have it. So
awesome. Maybe do it again in the future.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
No problem.